I'm so excited to share to you today someone who has one of the most unique stories I have ever heard. And I absolutely know it's going to inspire you wherever you are at in your journey in entrepreneurship. And her mindset from where she came from and to where she is today is so rock solid. And you will see that in the way she speaks and the way she presents. And some of the things that we spoke about, and something that you're really going to get a ton of value from in this episode, is how to sell one to many. Because we can sit here and sell one to one and burn ourselves out all day long. But it really takes strategy in order to sell one to many. And she goes into that in full detail. And it's so incredible seeing the strategy that she has used to scale her businesses to six figures and beyond twice now, also while working full time. And I don't want to share too much about her story because it's so good. So I'm going to let her share it herself. So I'm so excited to present to you today, Angela Sundust. So Angela Sundust is a former truck driver turned award-winning sales consultant and multiple six-figure online entrepreneur. She transforms her clients' sales processes and helps them elevate their sales mindset and sales energy to attract and turn leads from cold to sold in days instead of months. She launched her fitness business back in 2018 with her own app and tons of tech. When understanding that all of this tech worked as a wall between her and her audience, she removed everything and then started selling only with virtual events. She built her fitness business while working full-time as a truck driver, which she's going to go into, living in the truck from Sunday to Friday. With an elevated sales mindset and an understanding of energy, she live launched from the truck cabin using the simplest strategies on the planet and scaled to six figures in just months. Angela then wanted to help others with her scale with simplicity. She launched her rinse and repeat system in 2020, helping service-based providers understand sales mindset and energy and bring that into a simple strategy to attract, nurture, and close clients. Whew, what an amazing bio. So here we have Miss Angela Sundust.
Welcome, visionaries and revolutionaries, to the Aligned Empire podcast, your gateway to building a movement of change, wealth, and impact. I'm your host, Drea Brown. This podcast is for the visionary woman who is ready to master the energetic frequencies of money, business, and herself, and is ready to expand into a frequency, life, and empire that mirrors her highest purpose. Together, we are rising up and reshaping the world as we know it, defying limitations and boldly embodying our highest selves. You're not just listening to another podcast. You're embarking on an epic journey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Aligned Empire podcast. I'm so excited to be welcoming you, Angela Sundust. And so, Angela, let's just start right at the beginning. What motivated you, or what's your story? Because you have a very unique story.
Yeah, so I started out with a dream, like a lot of other people. So I was actually a truck driver. I have been a truck driver for 15 years, and I was living in the truck from Sunday to Friday every week, unloading, loading, working 13 or 15 hours per day. And that is a lifestyle. I mean, everyone that is listening that have any truckers in the family, you know it's a lifestyle. But I was dreaming about this other lifestyle where I was laying on the beach, drinking pina colada, and had money in the bank. And my passion was fitness. So I kind of scrolled online and I saw, I can start my own online business. And this is like, I think it's like 5.5, 6 years ago. And the problem was that I didn't know anything. So I was sold kind of a dream and a wish, an idea of these evergreen sales by people that didn't do evergreen sales to close those sales. So I usually very honest with that because I was sold a dream. That is the fact. So I actually built myself a fitness app. I run ads without a validated offer. I didn't know my dream client. I had sales funnels. I had it all. And it actually costed me almost more money than I was making. And I came across a 5-day challenge. And I thought, can it really be this simple? Well, it's not really that simple because there's a strategy behind it. But I didn't know it back then. And I hired someone to help me build out the 5-day challenge. That was the turning point in my business. So I actually went to six figures in that fitness business within 4 months while I was living in the truck. So I actually did my 5-day challenges in the evenings. So I run one 5-day challenge and one webinar every month like this. And after 4 months, I had made $100,000 in sales. And I threw everything that the old stuff away. And that is actually how I built my first business. And I, of course, stopped as a truck driver, right? So, and the thing was that I was, when I launched the app and all those kind of crazy stuff, I was in this, things needed to be perfect. And I went from that to launching in a truck cabin. And sometimes I didn't even have a shower. I'm going to be honest, I looked like crap. And I sold fitness and they still bought, right? Because of this human connection. And I removed the wall of tech between me and my audience. And after that, like 3.5, 4 years ago, I wanted to teach others. And then I pivoted into what I do today, virtual events, and help people sell in the capacity of one to many.
That's amazing. So you went to being a full-time truck driver, building your business while being a full-time truck driver, into the fitness business, launched that, went to 6 figures in 4 months, and now you transitioned into teaching people exactly what you did.
Exactly. So and I still do what I did back then. I don't do anything different. But back then, the thing was, I'm going to be honest, I didn't do any sales between the challenges. The reason was not that I didn't want to, I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to do sales calls. I didn't know how to have a conversation even in the DMs. I had no idea. I only run the virtual events, right? And now, of course, it has elevated, so I do sales between the launches. But I still use the same strategy, and that is the same strategy that I teach. So I started like 3.5, 4-ish years ago, teaching people to do webinars first. And then I started to teach them how to do the 3-day and the 5-day format into full launches. And with that comes, of course, mastering sales, do the lead generation for the event, and all those other things that is around those kind of things, right? So I closed my fitness business about, I would say 3 years ago or something like that, when I fully pivoted into what I do today. Teach people exactly what I did and still do. So I kind of lead by example. I walk the walk, right? So yes.
So walk me through exactly what it is that you help people do now.
So I help them, of course, craft together a virtual event idea of their offer. So, and then we put together the virtual event in itself, and it can look a little bit different because depending on what audience you have, who you are, and what offer you have, it can be a 45-minute masterclass to a 9-day launch. Nothing is right and wrong, and they convert equally depending on who are you selling to, right? But you can't make a virtual event convert if you don't have an offer that sells, and if you don't ever have any leads to sell it to, right? So I teach the entire strategy from where you're kind of positioning yourself to having the offer ready. And then you go to launch and build out the event, and you do lead generation and sales in the event like a cycle. And then you just start over. Same cycle, like so rinse and repeat over and over. And we built mastery. So we built signature events. So we don't do different kind of events. We built one event to sell one offer to one dream client with one message. And then we run it on repeat like this until it converts really well, and you can do other events, of course. But it's the simplicity behind it and running the reps that is the power of virtual events, and not to jump from one topic to another topic, right? Because you want to be known for the topic you run your event around. You are going to own that topic. People are going to remember you because of that event. And you want to build that omnipresence online that is included in your event. So I usually say you get like 5 things in one, because you get the positioning, you get the lead generation at the same time you do the event, right? You build like a know and trust, which is nurturing, and you do the sales in one thing. It's not different kind of thing. It's actually one thing. You can run one 5-day challenge and it's going to replace like 80% of what you do in your business today. So we kind of do all the parts on different kind of levels. Yes.
That's amazing. So let's say I am a coach or an entrepreneur. I have an offer that I know sells organically. I come to you and I'm like, Angela, I really want to sell to more than just one person because my calendar's booked up. I'm really tired. I have way too many one-on-one clients right now. What would you tell me, or what would the strategy be to help me launch my event?
So the first thing that we always look is inside here. What do you want to do? Because there's a lot of people that say like webinars doesn't work, 3-day challenges doesn't work. Nobody wants to join a 5-day challenge anymore. There is a lot of opinions about this. But the number one most important part where a virtual event converts is your energy as a host. Because the number one reason why people leave webinars and challenges is lack of engagement and passion from the speaker, which means you need to start here and ask yourself, what do I want to do? Let's say, I feel like I can run a 3-day workshop. Then we need to look at, okay, would your audience join a 3-day workshop? Or is your audience maybe stressed out single moms? They don't have time to join you for 5 days in a row, right? You need to run something that is shorter for them maybe. Can you do kind of a different kind of event maybe? And the last thing that we look at is the offering itself. What is the investment? Because people buy from people they trust. And the virtual event in itself is going to compress your nurturing process from building like, know, and trust from months into days, which means that at the end of the day, if they don't trust you enough, they're not going to buy anyway, which means if you host a high-ticket offer in a webinar, you need to do calls because people don't trust you enough after 45 minutes, right? But if you run a 5-day challenge or a 9-day launch, people will click and buy for $15,000 because they trust you enough and they have had enough time with you. So it's actually depending on you, the audience, and the offer in itself. What kind of an offer is it, right? So that is the first thing that we kind of do, to just look at the frame of it. And then it comes down to, okay, the topic, the days, when you're going to run it, all those kind of framework when it comes to the virtual event in itself, and how to do the lead generation, of course. Right.
Right, absolutely. And as far as engagement goes, what are some of the best strategies that you can give my audience for how to actually get people to continue to engage during these events, and also to keep them coming back? If it's more than one day, how do we get them to come back?
Yeah. So there is, of course, a lot of ways to create engagement. And one thing that is crucial when it comes to multi-day events is that the days build on each other. Because otherwise there is no point in coming back, because you can join one day to get exactly what you want. So let's say I teach a 5-day challenge how to craft together a webinar. I can't teach that on day one and then they feel, okay, now I know this, so I don't need to come back. That is one thing. Another thing is to have a workbook that people actually can look, oh, this is coming up tomorrow. Oh, I want to join that session. Oh, that sounds interesting. Because that creates kind of a curiosity. A third thing is really important that a lot of people miss is that they explain too much what they are going to teach. So when you explain your days, it should create curiosity. Like you can have a day where you teach my 3-step formula to generate hundreds of leads. It actually tells the audience nothing. What they are not going to feel like, oh, I don't need to join that because I can watch the replay. No, they're going to feel like, oh, I need to join that because I need those 3-step formula. I need those 3 steps, and the only way I can get them is if I show up, right? So there is a lot of ways to get them to actually come back day after day, and also how you show up, right? Because it's not so much of what you actually do than it is who you are when you do it. Because if you show up, like you run your event on because you want to be on a specific time zone, so all of a sudden you run your event in the middle of the night and you are tired and you have no energy, you have no passion, people are not going to come back. Obvious, because they're going to feel like, nah, this wasn't for me, right? Which means how you feel your energy to dehydrate yourself, to go out in the mornings and breathe and close your calendar throughout the days where you launch. So when you show up as the best version of yourself. That is when people come back, because they're going to come back because of this. They're going to come back because of the strategy. They're going to come back because they are so in love with you as a person. That is why they are so powerful, right? And why it takes some time to make them convert, because to be able to come to that level, to have that amazing energy when you show up, it takes some reps. It's not going to happen the first time. And sometimes we don't give ourselves enough slack to kind of create that, so we give up, right? But you want to ask yourself, if you show up on an event, why did you go back? Because we sometimes forget that. We want to I don't want to do sales calls, but if I'm going to buy something from you, I want to jump on a call. Yeah, it makes no sense, right? Or I don't want to do that, but other people need to do that. It doesn't work out. So you can ask yourself, okay, how do I show up for others? And why did I show up? Or why did I not show up? Why did this kind of felt like, this wasn't my thing? What was it? And you can go out and be a good student and look at other persons, how do they run their events, right? Do they use slides? Did I like slides? Or did I feel like, disconnection over here, right? So you're going to see, or just ask yourself, why did you show up? Why did you show up 5 days in a row? Yeah, usually it's because of the host. You actually learned something, so it wasn't just fluff. You didn't get whatever they said they were going to give you if you didn't join all days. And you felt like this is something that I really needed to learn. And you taught me stuff. I can actually see myself do this stuff. And that is important. Actionable, it's a too much fluff. Events with just fluff is just flat. People need to feel, I can do this. I can take whatever you taught me and actually implement it. It can work for me. That is how you want your audience to feel, right?
Amazing. And how would you recommend, I know everyone's going to be different, but how would you recommend for someone to actually go ahead and set this up in terms of the curriculum they do want to teach? Do you recommend teaching them as much as possible, just the best stuff that they have in their course or in their program? What would you recommend?
So first of all, you want to not overteach, and that is not, you can't give away too much free stuff. That is not going to happen. The more value you add to the market, the more money you're going to make. But you can overwhelm an audience, and that is a dangerous fine line to walk on, because as soon as you overwhelm, people are going to zoom out because they are just going to, this is just too much. So what you want to start with is to ask yourself, what is inside my program that is easy for me to teach, easy for people to understand, but it's tangible. It's actually something people want. Because sometimes as an expert, we think, yeah, but this is what people need. And I'm going to give you an example in a moment where I did totally the opposite, so you can learn from my mistake. But you pull something out from that is inside your offer. Don't just run something that you feel, this is what people want, right? But it doesn't work as a bridge into your offer, because that makes no sense. It needs to be a part of your offer. You can also ask yourself, what is inside my offer that I can teach? So when people join my program, they kind of get a kickstart. So we run a live launch around how to do a live launch. So when people jump into my program, they're already set up, and it's going to fast track them to the result, right? But it needs to be something people can take action on and understand and implement on. And and the thing that I'm going to share with you, so when I was in fitness, we are the expert. There is no question in that. We're not doubting anybody's expertise here. But it's easy to get blind on our expertise and don't understand what the audience actually want. It's a use different what people want or what people need. And your job is to give people what they want, and then you're going to provide what they need to get what they want, right? I didn't understand that, so I launched a virtual event called Change the Way You See Food, because I knew from an expert point of view that was the biggest thing for my ideal client that they needed to learn in order to lose weight. Did people want to learn how to change the way you see food? No. What do these women wanted? They wanted to lose weight. And it can sound tacky, but you need to ask yourself, can I provide that and give them what they want? And then I can show them what they need in order to get what they want. So the only thing that I did with that challenge was that I changed the topic, the name, the title of the challenge from change the way you see food to lose weight without giving up the cupcake. That is a challenge that took me to 6 figures. Because the first time I launched it, it fell completely flat. I hired a person, I came across copywriting, I changed the title, boom. Because that is what people want. We can't ignore that. And it might sound like, yeah, but I'm so tired of talking about losing weight or teach people how to get clients. Well, as long as your ideal client say to you, I want to lose weight, I want to get clients, I want to close more sales, I want to earn 10K per month, that is what you need to give them. End of story. People do not sign up for something they do not want, right? But at the same time, it needs to be a part of your program. You can't run a workshop around ChatGPT and then you sell a weight loss program. That makes no sense. It needs to work as a bridge into your offer. So you pull something out that is already inside and you teach it in a really simplified way.
And so once you find exactly what you want to teach from your offer, from your course, then you just set it up on an auto basis or a consistent basis where you slowly get it better and better, more efficient. How does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, you need to first start, right? So you pull either one thing out and you split it to, let's say we run a 3-day event for the simplicity of it. So we pull out from my program how to do webinars, and I pull out one thing and I teach it in 3 steps. Or I pull out 3 things. So I could pull out framework, lead generation, and sales in how to do that in a webinar, right? Or I can pull out just the framework, how to set up the time, the topic, the title, and pull it out in 3 days. And then you just need to run it. And you need to run the reps of it. And you need to improve. And by that, usually small pivots where you feel, oh, I overteach here too much. Okay, next time you do not do that mistake. Or you feel like I lost them here when I did my invitation to my offer. I lost them. Okay, what do I need to work on? Run it again. Because no one became the best by doing one event. You become the best by doing the reps. Every athlete out there knows that, right? Which means when it starts working, you just raise the volume, right? Which means more leads, more sales, right? But it needs to start convert. Then you can put it up on autopilot. There are so many ways of doing it, but you need to make it convert first. And the biggest mistake that I would say where it doesn't convert is that we kind of are not aligned with our sales. So I guess we're going to talk more about that. But also when we overteach, that is one huge mistake. So it becomes too much. And also we lack of engagement and passion when we show up and speak inside our challenge, right? So it falls kind of flat and we don't lead our audience from, they are joining uncertain, limiting beliefs, they don't think they can do it, they have fears, frustrations, whatever. Your job is to lead them from uncertain to certain. You're going to lead them from having imposter syndrome to feel like, oh my God, I can do this. That is your job. And it takes some time to actually be good at that. And then the sales process, that was usually where it kind of falls, right? And that is also, you're not going to be the best after running a couple of workshops. It takes some time with everything. It's like sales calls or lead generation. We are so chasing the instant gratification that we kind of, we do one webinar, it didn't convert like they told me it would, so webinars are dead. Yeah, you need to be committed, right? Makes no sense, but unfortunately, that is what we can see a little bit online.
And what would be a good conversion? What type of conversions are you guys looking for at the very end?
So the average conversion rate across industry, and this is across industries, if you look, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter kind of what you sell, it doesn't matter. It's actually 2.5% for everything. It doesn't matter if you do a webinar, masterclass, email campaign, you do sell to your cold audience, you do sales calls, it does not matter. The average conversion rate, you can look it up online, just Google average conversion rate, 2.5%, right? Can you increase that? Yes, of course, right? When you start running the reps and you start getting the hang of it and you learn how to do the sales process, you get them more engaged, you learn how to lead people, it's going to increase, right? Which means it can convert anything from 2.5% to 20%. It's totally depending on the price of the offer, of course. You're going to have a higher conversion rate for a lower ticket. At the same time, you need way more leads, right? So, but if we look at if you just starting out, doesn't matter what you do, it's 2.5%, no matter what everybody else is telling you, because it's the average conversion rate across industry for all kinds of sales.
And do you recommend doing low ticket or high ticket? Or does it totally depend on your business model?
Yeah, you decide. I mean, there is a lot of people say like, oh, the only way is high ticket, but I don't believe it, right? Because I believe that you need to decide, first of all, who do I want to sell to? Because you can either be the Prada bag at Prada or the Walmart bag at Walmart. Both works. It does not matter. You can become rich on both here. But you need to sell more bags here than here to earn the same amount of money. And you can't do this because you can't take the Prada bag and go and try it to sell it on Walmart because they're not going to buy it. The Prada audience is not going to buy the Walmart bag, which means the only one that can decide what you want to do is you. Then you position yourself there. I mean, it doesn't matter what. There is no such thing that this is the only way, because you as a CEO, you decide, what do I want to sell? And if you really want to sell to this person, you need to ask yourself, okay, is this a premium person? Can these people pay me $50,000? If the answer is no, these are single moms with no job, well, you're trying to take the Prada bag and sell here. It's just not going to work. There is a place for all kinds of offer pricing, right? But what it doesn't make sense is when people run 5-day challenges for low ticket offers, because people don't need 5 days with you to buy something that is $200, right? You could have run the 45 minutes webinar and get the same conversion. I would say it would convert more, because a lot of people that spend 5 days with you and you present an offer for $297 will not buy it because they are expecting more, right? So,
Absolutely.
And if you try to go and sell a low ticket offer to a premium client that is expecting you to sell her a 10K offer, she's not going to buy it. But you decide. Does not matter. I don't say there's nothing wrong or right. You can have all kinds of offer, but what you want to have is one message, one offer, and one launch until it start working. Then you can start adding lower ticket, upsells, downsells. It does not matter, right? And I would say, like, we usually run masterclasses to sell tickets, for an example. Those tickets are usually $47 or $97. We run webinars and take people on a call. We run 3-day challenges sometimes to sell medium tickets. So, I mean, there is all kinds of way of doing it. Nothing is right or wrong. You decide. You are the CEO. No one else can tell you what to do. But you need to be aware who are you selling to. That is the most important part. Because otherwise it's going to be hard.
Yeah, definitely. I love all those analogies you've been using. It's amazing. And so I know that a lot of my audience is wondering the same exact question. How do you get people to show up? Where do you find these people? And what type of strategies would you recommend to get people to show up to these live events?
You're talking about the lead generation, the get people to sign up. Yeah, exactly. So of course, there's a massive amount of lead generation strategies. But what I usually start by saying is that we think about lead generation as something really strategic when it's not, right? because lead generation can actually be of huge service to your market. Because when you host virtual events, compared to a lot of other stuff that we are going on out there, you are actually solving the biggest problem that your dream clients have. And you inviting them to get access to that solution is a gift to them, right? Which means it starts with you shifting your mindset around lead generation and aligned your mindset with the millions of dollars that you want to make, because here is a lot where it falls flat. We want this outcome. So we want let's say a 20K launch, right? Over here. That is the outcome. But the energy we put in over here to hand out invitations to join our launch doesn't match the expectation of what that launch is going to give us. Because we stand in our own way. Because we feel pitchy, slimy, sleazy, promoting, whatever. And we make it all about us when it's not about us. Because if you solve the biggest problem in your workshop, it's not about you. Your job is to hand out, give people access to that solution, right? Which means, first of all, shift your mindset around lead generation. Because lead generation is a huge gift to people. That is number one. It has nothing to do with strategy at all. When it comes to strategy, it's actually really, really, really simple. Because lead generation for virtual events, it's easy. So the first thing, if you know what your people want, and this has nothing to do with what you know they need, what they want. Let's say we do weight loss, because it's easy. A lot of us can kind of relate to that, right? And you go out and you say, hey, do you want to lose 10 kilos before Christmas? I have a gift for you. Who is going to say yes to that? Everyone that wants to lose 10 kilos before Christmas, right? They're going to say, yes, come and join me in my workshop here. That wasn't so hard, right? And I love the result-based lead generation, where we always ask for the result, right? But you can also ask for the struggle. Like, do you struggle losing weight? Do you feel like the tummy, I don't know the English word for that really, the tummy, when I have a kind of, you can't get rid of the tummy fat. Do you say it like that? I don't know. That could work as well.
The muffin roll or the the muffin top?
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah. I mean, there are so many ways. The strategy is not the problem. It's usually our mindset, because it comes in our way. Because, I don't know if I can invite my existing audience because they might get tired of me or whatever. It's not about it. You need to stop standing in your own way and understand that you inviting them to your workshop is something valuable. And you need to be proud and loud about the way that you help people, right? So it's usually a huge mindset shift, because the strategy is to get people to say yes. Simple, right? Simple, because if you understand what they want and you use the same words, they would have used it if they would have described for you what they wanted. So you don't use words and talk around it. You get to the point. You don't talk around it. You actually talk exactly what they say. Like, I could go out and say, hey, do you want to scale to 10K per month? Right? Comment below. And that's not say, yeah, but only 10K per month is so boring. Yeah, because my dream client asked for 10K per month. And as long as they're going to ask for 10K per month, I am going to continue saying 10K per month. Right? So you need to kind of understand, how do they describe it? And then you ask them the same words, the same thing. It's not kind of hard when it comes to short invitations for your workshop. And then you can combine it with the ordinary content that is kind of where you build like, know, and trust with the ordinary content, your weekly live, your newsletter, your post that you do every day that might be longer, might be a video, doesn't matter. I talk about lead generation, the instant, yes, sign up, boom, into the workshop. That is a one-time transaction. The marketing over here, where you post content, weekly live, that is kind of brand building like, know, and trust, providing amazing content. You can add call to action to sign up from that as well. But you also want to do short invitations. Send them out in DM. Hey, Sophia, thanks for following me on Instagram. I hope you get value from my content. I wanted to share with you that I'm hosting a workshop next week, teaching people how to scale with Instagram Reels. Would you like to join? That's not pitchy, slimy, or salesy because I know I can help her, right? So yeah, there's so many. We can't talk kind of a lot of strategy because there are so many, but just understand that you doing lead generation where you have the solution to people's problems is actually a gift to people to invite them.
I love that. It really feels like mindset is a huge part of all of this, because I could imagine a lot of your clients and a lot of people that come to you are scared as shit to actually even host a live event. And so I would imagine there's a lot of mindset issues that go on there. And then like the sales part background and just, getting them in the first place. So, but I'd love to transition a little bit and just talk about the actual sales part of it. And so you're doing the live event, and at the end, you pitch them what it is.
Yeah. Well, actually, you sell from the moment you start, because when you try to sell or kind of do that teach awkward pitch, it's just not going to convert. Because what's going to happen is sales is the most energetic part you can do in your business, right? When people buy, they are in their energy to do the investment. So they are going to invest in your energy, which means if you show up, teach, and you are just like amazing, woohoo, and then you, oh no, here comes the pitch, oh no, oh, my offer is, and you get this energy shift, it's going to fall flat, which means a lot of people's workshop doesn't convert because they do a pitch. I hate the word pitch, but they do a pitch of their offer, which means it's teach, awkward pitch, right? So what you want to think about is that as soon as people start joining your event, they join with mindset block, limiting beliefs, struggles, fear, frustrations, these kind of people. As soon as you start to speak to them, you start lead them towards where they are to over here where your offer is. So you actually start sell here, right? Which means when you have run some reps and you understand how you lead people to this, you lead them through a transformation, a mindset shift, a breakthrough, right? Into saying yes to your offer. You're actually going to understand that you actually start selling here. Because selling is serving. And when you start serving your audience and start that transformation that you're going to do in your event, you are actually selling. Because sales is conveying your message. It's not about pitching, it's an invitation, which means when you start coming closer to the end, you're just going to tell people, if you love what you learned and you want to take that and bring it full cycle and go out and execute with my support and let me guide you, I have an opportunity for you. That is all it is. So leave the pitching that people do, throw it away, and understand that it's just an invitation. Not everyone is going to buy. It's totally fine, okay? Because when you do that, when you hold that energy throughout, and when you go into the offer with the same energy, you're not going to have that energy shift. When you think about it, pitchy, slimy, sleazy, salesy, because when you think about it that way, you're going to project those emotions that you have around sales out to the people, right? So when you understand that sales is an invitation, it's an opportunity, it's something beautiful, it's when you serve your audience on the highest level, that is where the huge transformation starts. That is where you help people to help people in their turn. That is when the domino effect, the money, is just a byproduct of you helping more people, right? So when you understand that and you do this kind of mindset shift again, and you redefine what sales is, and you understand that I'm actually selling from the moment I open my mouth, it's going to feel so much smoother. The other thing to close more sales is to continue selling. A lot of people open cart on day 5 in a 5-day challenge and they don't show up again. And that is just not going to work. You need to continue selling. So we actually usually add what we call days of selling. They can look so many different ways, but that is when you show up and you keep on serving, you keep on showing them, you keep on leading them, because some people are just not ready on day 4. They need to join on day 6. But if you don't show up on day 6, you just, boom, off I go, you're going to lose those sales. Because some people are just not going to buy just because you open cart, right? So you need to add, like, continue. That doesn't mean you'll need to be live if you don't want to be live more than 3 days or whatever it is. But you need to continue selling. because people need to hear your offer multiple times. I think you can't just think that as soon as you mention it, they are going to buy, right? And then, of course, the third thing, when you describe your offer, to not talk about your offer, like modules, those kind of boring stuff. Talk about the transformation, the result. People buy a result, does not matter. People buy the result. People don't go out and say, oh, I want to buy a system. No, they buy the result the system is going to give them, right? That is why we invest in a system, because we want the result the system is going to give us. So when you talk about your offer, make sure you talk about it, the result that is going to provide for them and the transformation is going to be in their life, and stop talking so much about what is inside the modules. And who cares? Who cares if it's a 5 module or it's 20 modules? No one cares. People buy a result. End of story.
Hello, amazing, wonderful people. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. And if you are, could you please share this with someone who you really, truly think needs it or would enjoy listening to these type of podcast episodes? It would really mean the world to us. Our team works so hard on these episodes, and we really try to provide the most value we possibly can for our listeners. So a few ways that you can share is take a screenshot of this episode and share it into Instagram. We would love to tag you in our stories. And a few other ways is sharing exactly what you loved about this episode and what truly made an impact in your life. And one last thing, if you are enjoying this podcast episode, if you could leave a review for us, that would be everything. It really does help our podcast, and it also helps other beautiful, wonderful people find our podcast as well. So thank you so much, and let's get back to the show. Yeah. And when you're selling, or when you continue to sell after the last day of the event, are you talking through emails, organic posting? Are you saying even go live one more day, say like surprise day, or what are some of the actionable tips for that?
Yeah, so of course mail and stuff like that, but we all know not everyone shows open the mails and things like that. So what we usually do, or what we do, and what I encourage everyone to do, is to continue to go live. And with that is that we have different kind of elements, and one of them is of course, let's say, testimonial social proof, which means one of the days, let's say we run a 5-day challenge, day 6, we could invite and go live together with the client and talk about their journey, talk about how they kind of got help and what was the struggles, frustration, and then we move into the offer again. So we cover that kind of building even more trust. Then you can also say, what kind of mindset blocks do my audience have? What is the biggest objections that might have? And in my case, it's usually time. Time is a huge objection. It's for my audience. So I could do a session on day 7 where I talk about, for an example, my 3-step formula to replace 80% of what you're doing in your business today. And then I talk more about the time that it's going to save them if they come and do the strategy that I have taught them. It's going to save them time. Boom, I move into my offer again. I invite them again to my offer, which means everything that I show up and teach a little bit about is really, really strategically put out depending on who my audience is, and depending on maybe, after some time you know exactly what to do. But in the beginning, you might get feedback from your first event and you're going to notice, oh, they needed more of this. Boom, you add that in a really strategic sales session and you move into your offer. If you don't want to be live, record them. Record an interview with the client, right? It doesn't need to be so kind of complicated. And some people say like, oh, do I need to show up for 8 days in a row? Well, you would have been there anyway, but you would have scrolled on social media. So why not show up 1 hour and make $15,000 more? Right? It's like we kind of need to think about this is really strategically put. We're not just showing up multiple hours. It's really strategically put together to move the audience into the offer. So there's a lot of ways of doing it. But I would suggest to think about mindset block, objections, social proof, testimonials. Storytelling is a huge part of those days, right? And then you kind of move into the offer. all the days of selling. And if you open cart on day 4, you go do the same day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, maybe day 8 even, depending on if you have a really high ticket offer. Of course, if you have a lower ticket, you don't need to go live so many days maybe. And kind of strategically put them out.
And how often do you recommend putting live events on for your audience? Or does it depend on the offer?
I mean, if you're going to run them in cycles and you run, let's say, a 3-day event, can you run it every month? Yes, because you do lead generation maybe for 10 days, you run the event for 3 days, you do a couple of days of selling, you wrap it up. But if you run full 9-day launches, I would say every month is a little bit too much, because you don't have time in between to nurture the audience, which means you're going to exhaust the audience. You can see that in a lot of Facebook groups where they have the same event running every month like this, and the audience start to zoom out because you make the audience tired. You want to give some little space between, both for the audience but also for yourself, right? So maybe 6 to 8 times a year maximum for these kind of longer events. What I did when I started out was that I only run for 5 days because I had no idea about days of selling. This is something that I learned further along the road. What I did was, since that didn't convert as much as I wanted, because I didn't understand the days of selling, I added a webinar the week after. So I actually run 5 days, and then I closed the cart on Monday. I actually had the Saturday, Sunday, Monday open cart. Then on Thursday, the week after, I run a webinar. And the leftovers that wasn't kind of sure from the challenge, they usually converted in the webinar. There's a lot of things to kind of do it. And then I run it every month like this. But I would say, can you run a 5-day every month? Yes. Can it be exhausting? Yeah. I'm just going to say it. I would recommend maybe 6 to 8 times a year.
So roughly every other month?
Yeah, roughly, yes. So you have some space in between to maybe run a shorter event. You can run a masterclass, for example. You can nurture the audience. You can nurture yourself, right? Because it might be that you're going to be exhausted after your first, maybe. You maybe need a couple of weeks. Maybe you feel like, oh, I didn't do lead generation enough. I'm going to do lead generation for 4 weeks this time. Yeah, then you need more time. So you're going to find your cycles. There's nothing right and wrong here. If you want to run them every month, do that, right? If you have the energy to do it, do it. We do it, right? We run them every month, but we don't run that long every month. Since we run several events, but it comes down to, what do you want to do? I always say that. I mean, there is nothing right. There's so many people saying it needs to be this, it needs to be that. No, you do what you want to do. It's your business. No one can tell you what to do. You need to find something that works for you. There are people successful running them every month. Fine, do that, right? But in the beginning, it will be exhausting. Give yourself some slack here and give yourself some time to do lead generation, because people kind of stress the lead generation process because they want to come close to the sale. Well, the sale is not going to happen without the leads. So we usually in the beginning do 4 weeks of lead generation for 5-day challenges when we are brand new, right? Because you need some time to generate those leads.
And so you guys are right now running several different challenges at a time, or within maybe with a span of a couple months, but it sounds like you probably kept perfecting them. But you would recommend someone starting out in live events to just start with one, and then once that's perfected and you have your conversion rates, then moving on to maybe a new challenge or a new masterclass.
Yeah, okay, but this is where a lot of people, so when it starts working, we feel like, oh, now I need to do something else. No, you do not. When it starts working, that is when you turn up the volume and you run it even more. So, I mean, one of my coaches where I learned the 5 days of selling, because that is not the strategy that I used before, she always said that you should run the same thing until you hit a $100,000 launch. Not until then are you going to start changing topics or a new. Yeah, that might be it if you have really high ticket offers, because it's going to take you some time with a $47 offer to hit $100,000 in sales. I'm just going to say. But if we look at the truth behind it, is that we have such a tendency to, as soon as it's working, we want to go in and change. We do not change things that is working. We turn up the volume, okay? Because that is a big mistake that people do. Oh, now it's converting. Oh, now I know their strategies. I'm going to build myself a new one. Why? Why do we close this one that is working so well? Come on, don't do that. Run it. Add more leads. Make it convert higher. Take in affiliates. There are so many ways of doing it, right? But the reason why we run a different kind of event is that I have one of my signature offers. We run that every second month. And then I have invite-only small events where we do small events for invite-only. And we have a short event. And these are for different offers and different audiences. But that is something that I have built now. I didn't have this in the beginning. And I don't recommend anyone to do that because that is different kind of ideal clients. Because the person that buys a VIP day for $15,000 is not the same person that buy a ticket to an event, right? It's not the same people. so and it becomes more complicated. So run the same thing, and don't. If people say to you, "Yeah, but you need to have different kind," no, you do not. Okay. You don't. Run the same thing. Make it simple. So complexity kills a lot of businesses.
And when would you recommend, you talked about having a ticket and someone paying for a ticket. When would you recommend actually charging for a live event?
I don't recommend to do any kind of paid launches. Absolutely not. The reason for that, there's a lot of people that are going to disagree. The reason is that people usually say, yeah, they convert higher. Yes, because you lock a lot of people out. So you don't have so many people inside. So that is why they convert higher, right? But we get so kind of after the instant transaction, the 27, the 47, and we think that is going to make people buyers. It's not. The person that buys something for 27 is not the same person that is going to say yes for 15,000. That makes no sense, right? The other thing is that as soon as you do paid launches, you close the doors for a massive amount of people that would have joined otherwise. And then people say, yeah, but I don't want to give people a lot of free stuff. Those are the same people that might never become clients, but they are going to become your raving fans. That is how you are going to build your brand online and get known for whatever it is that you're doing, because these people are going to go out and speak about you. But if you close them out, that is not going to happen. Can you run paid launches? Yes, when you have a huge audience, and it doesn't matter. Your name is Russell Brunson. So you don't need to build more omnipresence. You are already there, right? But in the beginning, absolutely not. If you can't fill free event, how are you going to fill a paid event, right? And it's just kind of, because we are so afraid that we give away information. You could give away everything, because if people could get the result with just information, we would all be skinny, beautiful, white teeth, beautiful hair, because there is enough free stuff on YouTube and in books to get that. But people aren't there. They don't have what they want, do they? Even if everything is free, which means it does not matter. The more value you bring to the market, the more money you're going to make. Because I get a lot of referrals from people that never become clients, but they show up on my paid event. They are my biggest fans. They comment, they engage, they never buy, but they bring in other people that do. But if I would have said, no, don't come into my world. If you're not going to pay me $27, I will have lost a lot of money. And you want to think about building, come across as many people as possible in the beginning. Might not be the right people, but at least you come across someone and made an impression that they go out in their turn and they start engaging, and maybe, hey, I was in a workshop last week. Come and join. It was really great. If you're looking for a LinkedIn expert, she talked a lot about LinkedIn. I wasn't interested, but it was really good stuff. Come and join. that is the effect. That is the domino effect it's going to create. What we do build with our clients is paid events that is not launches. It's maybe a 2-day VIP event where you sell a ticket for several hours per day, where it actually is, instead of an in-person event, it's a virtual. That is not a launch. We're not going to go in and just give a little and lead them into an offer. We're actually going in and teach an entire program, but it's live. And then we take the recordings and we sell them as a course, right? Something completely different, because it's paid events, not paid launches. We do not teach paid launches. I don't believe that we should paid launch to kind of run paid launches. It's like playing on the level of commodity instead of level of legacy and impact. Because if we play on the level of legacy and impact and think long-term and think about building our brand, you do not want to close the doors. You want to come across people, as many people as you possibly can, right?
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree with that philosophy. Absolutely. And so for someone who is looking to get into launching their live event, they're looking to get just better at sales, what is some of the best advice that you could give them right now?
If you just want to kind of start and you maybe feel like, ooh, scary, this is awkward, just run a simple 45-minute masterclass in your Facebook group. Simple. Or on YouTube. You can do it anywhere. It doesn't matter what platform. A short. So a lot of my clients actually start by doing webinars, 45-minute workshops, right? Or 45 minutes masterclass. Does not matter what you call them. And start building a confidence, right? Because if you can't keep up the energy in 45 minutes, you are not going to be able to keep up energy for 9 days in a row. I'm just going to say it, right? Some clients we push out to just do the 5 days like this, because it's going to push them over to the other side and they're going to feel like, whoa, this wasn't so bad, right? So when I pivoted from Swedish to English in my fitness business, I did a full 9-day launch in English, because I thought to myself, if I don't jump off the airplane, I will always try to look in the mirror like, oh, try to make an excuse or something to not do it, which meant I just jumped out of the plane. So when you want to do something, just jump. Just jump. It's not like dipping your toe here. Jump. But if you feel like, okay, I'm going to try this out, I would recommend a masterclass in a Facebook group. Is a really simple way. It requires zero. It requires no investments, no money, no nothing. You can just create a Facebook group. You create the masterclass. Let's say we do a masterclass, how to scale with Instagram Reels. You create a Facebook group that is called Scale with Instagram Reels. You just invite people. You go live with either Zoom, a stream, or Facebook Live. And you just run it just to break out of that comfort zone, to just come out on the other side and feel like, oh, this wasn't so bad. And then you start build from that.
Amazing. And is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you wish I would have asked you, or anything else that you would love to share?
I usually kind of want to kind of mention, because when it comes to any kind of sales, and this is really important, and unfortunately, we have an entire market that is moving away from speaking to people. We have all kinds of automation, all kinds of different kind of stuff going on, right? Which means it has created a gap. And you always want to understand and remember, money comes from people. People are going to take out their hardworking cash and hand it over to you, right? You should honor them by actually speaking to them, right? Because it has created, you can see that I don't want to do sales calls. I don't want to speak to people. I want them to hand me the money. I want them to buy my coaching program where I'm going to help them, but I do not want to speak to them. That have created a gap, because on one side you have an entire market that moves away from speaking to people. On the other side, you have an entire market of people that are just waiting for you to speak to them. And money comes from people. People buy from people. People buy from people they trust. The best way to do that, show up and speak. And it's simple. It doesn't cost you anything. And it's what people are going to invest in. How good you are at conveying your message. Be there, showing up with your energy. It's not so much what you do, it's more who you are when you do it. Because you are going to invite people into your energy. Like, hey, this is me. This is how I help people. This is what I'm all about. When you invest, this is what you get, right? When you invest in yourself and you let me lead you, this is what you got. This is what I bring to the table. That is what people invest in. And still, we want to move away from speaking, right? I don't want to speak to people. I really encourage everyone to lean in, start speaking to your audience, because never, ever, ever forget that money comes from people.
Absolutely. Yeah, those amazing last words. Those are really, truly incredible. And you're absolutely right. People buy from, people in their power too. People and money. Yep. We forget about that. We think it's just like a number arbitrary, but it's still emotion based. So amazing. And so what are 3 books that you could recommend to my audience?
What did you say? Excuse me.
Oh, 3 books that you could recommend to my audience.
Oh, books. So I do not read. I'm just going to say it. I listen to audiobooks because I was a truck driver, and I actually learned how to listen to audiobooks. This was before we had an app. So I had CDs in the truck, right? So you needed to put in the CD and listen to audiobooks, right? But if you want to read a good book about launching, I would definitely recommend my coach, Kelly Roach, The Live Launch Method. So because that book is about live launching, and she kind of invented the term live launching. And that is an incredibly good book if you are new to, or you're curious about what is live launching, how can I build it out for high ticket offers, its meaning for high ticket offer. I can really recommend that book, because I think that is one of the greatest books when it comes to live launching in itself, right? And then, of course, I would suggest to go and check out Amy Porterfield's new book that she recommended. I think she's a huge inspiration after her 14 years of creating digital courses. And if you're going to look at these 2 women, if we're going to compare them, Amy helped her clients have together a lot of low-ticket offers. We talked about offers, right? So if you feel like, oh, I'm curious about digital courses, how to build a business around it, and she do webinars, right? So that could be maybe a book about that part of the market.
Amazing. And you just interviewed Amy Porterfield.
Yes, I actually did.
Yeah.
And yes, that is why I know she had the book. So I had the book as well. So yes, I did. And that is, I always encourage people to walk outside of, if you're always comfortable, you are doing something wrong. You need to be a little bit uncomfortable when you do things. And it has been a long time since I felt uncomfortable, because I run the rap, so I feel kind of comfortable all the time. That was a little bit uncomfortable because she's a huge
Totally.
And I was a little bit starstruck and a little bit scared. And the worst thing that could happen happened, so I got thrown out of Zoom. But the pro, as she is, when I came back into the Zoom a couple of minutes later, she was still there.
Oh,
right,
I bet it was so fun.
Oh, she was cute. And her energy is just like, you understand why you want to be in her energy. She's a good example when I talk about people invest in her energy, because when just she's showing up and speak, you are just like, oh my God, I'm going to buy something here, right? Because she is just drawn you into her energy, right? She invites you into that. And you are just like, if you're in the energy of invest, that is when you do it, right? She's a really good example of that. Go and check her, go and listen to her, watch some videos, so you're going to understand what I mean if you haven't followed her, right?
Yeah, I listened to some of her podcasts, and it's just amazing. So yeah. And so where can people find you? Where do you hang out?
So I am mostly LinkedIn and Facebook. I have an Instagram, but it's not my platform, so I don't hang around that so much. So I would say come and look me up, Angela Sanders on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Those are my 2 platforms.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Angela. This is
Okay.
really, really so fun. And there's so many things that I learned. I know my audience learned as well about launching sales. My mindset is really a big one that I took away from this as well. I love watching you be passionate and really embody what you're teaching about being really, it's really amazing. And it's magnetizing. It's truly magnetizing. And I can see why you've been so successful and were able to grow your business from full-time truck driver.
Yeah, exactly. But I always say, be the person that you want to meet online. If you want to meet people that are passionate, that are high achievers, that are action takers, that is in a certain way, it starts with you, right? You need to walk the walk. Yeah, I mean, we can't expect others to do things when we are not willing to do them ourselves, right? The way you show up for people is the same way they are going to show up for you. If you show up with passion, people are going to show up with passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Angela. And thank you for being such an amazing example of that. And talk to you soon.
And with that, we come to the close of yet another epic journey of the Aligned Empire podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the frequency of your limitless potential. Each episode is a code to unlock your unique energetic frequencies of money, business, and your aligned empire. If you feel this episode would resonate with others, please share it forward, creating a ripple effect throughout the universe. Make sure to subscribe to continue this journey of transformation with us. Join us again next week as we continue to rise together, joining a movement that is changing the world. This is Drea Brown, your guide on this journey, signing off.